Oh, no, no, we've only just started. What I'd said last week, Mary, was that I'd just video this conversation because we were going to focus on Cathy's response now to the two submissions. And so we'd just have that record. Um, and if this is okay with you, Mary, it's just to um, share with both of us. So Cathy can share just her responses at the moment to the two submissions, and then we could actually take it from there and just see, where Cathy thinks that she has got to with our responses. Does that sound all right? Yeah. Okay. Do you want? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then if you like, this sense of the originality of the you don't have to be in the sense of the MPhil, the originality, but your contribution to knowledge, which was in both of the submissions. Could you just focus a little bit on that in terms of the CPD and the schools? Yeah, I did. And Mary, if it's okay, if I just go on just for a minute, it's just that um, one of the contributions of knowledge seemed to me to be that recognition that the national imposition of a policy of CPD was actually inappropriate when you actually got on the inside of the cultures of individual institutions, especially in relation to that assessment for learning, which I liked very much the way you did this. But could I just check something so Mary can hear it? Um, you, you, you mentioned last week that in relation to feminist epistemology, it wasn't actually. Oh, well, do you want to say? Are you okay with this? Do you want to? Yeah, very much so. And I was wondering whether one idea that comes from Michel Foucault might be helpful, where he gives the illustration of what he called the panopticon, which is a circular building full of glass where the prisoners were actually kept and gradually didn't need guards because they felt they were under surveillance all the time. Now, I'm wondering, Cathy, whether your experience of literally the academy is almost like a self-generated panopticon, where you have felt like the confusion over the second submission in terms of methods and methodology, and yet you felt you had to conform to whether it was case study or to ethnography. You know, you have got about 4 or 5 there, that it just feels that you're controlling yourself with almost a movement into what you're considering to be required by the academy, which is actually masking the actual methodological inventiveness which you had as a researcher making those contributions to knowledge. But I don't know, Mary, if that makes sense to you, but that was my feeling. Yeah, this is what it just feels, Mary, that what's exciting about the conversations, and we talked about this, Cathy and myself, the other week, is, Cathy, in relation to what you were saying about your own educational growth, that you can now write from that perspective, knowing that you've got really important data that you can use as evidence in the narrative that you can defend. and you've got some really superb data in terms of your own responses to what the academic pressures or your appreciation or understanding of academic pressures have done to you. And the best work I've seen on this at the moment is the sociologist D'Souza Santos, and that text, which I think you've got, the Epistemologies of the South, Justice Against Epistemicide. And what he's meaning by epistemicide is that killing off the knowledge, if you like, of the practitioner by inappropriate impositions. And it feels like the panopticon, it's almost like you've internalized some of those, which you're now liberating yourself from, and your narrative can be part of you showing this emancipation, whilst at the same time contributing to knowledge, where you've got the data already as evidence within the two submissions. Yeah. Very much. Yeah. I really like this, Cathy, because those give you a way of communicating the clarity of your values, which you can use as explanatory principles as you express your methodological inventiveness. And the narrative, it feels to me, can face the criticisms like I had in the second Viva, with the confusions over at least 5 different methodologies. And yet that's not what you've done. What you've done is something which has emerged from your own creativity. You've got a very able critical mind, which is also creative. And I think if you trust now, like Mary's saying, it's actually trusting your own capacities now to produce a narrative which you know you can defend, and we can respond to it as it emerges. Yeah. 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 Very much. Very much so. No. Yep. Very good. Yeah. Mm. Yep. Yeah, and I think this is what Mary was meaning. When you said Cathy's got to have a position and defend it, the clarity with which you're communicating, Cathy, it feels to me is exactly what Mary was asking for, which is the defence of, yeah? Okay. Yeah. No. You see, I don't think I may be wrong, that Cathy has been asked for anything other than what the university require for the award of an MPhil. Okay, so we can check this, but I think that is what Cathy has actually received, because as examiners, a resubmission for an MPhil in relation to the two doctorates, there were so many, literally infinite possibilities, that we actually focused on what are the requirements of the university for an MPhil. These are not different to the requirements that we had. And therefore we can look at the two submissions and what Cathy's now going to be writing with those criteria in mind. And it feels to me that we're experienced enough to be able to say, look, any reasonable person, by the time this is submitted, will see that it's met those criteria. But I think that's where we are, Mary, with that, meeting the university criteria. Yeah. I don't know what Mary thinks, but that would be, for me, a way forward now with your writing, and not to feel, this is the issue, you've got not to feel constrained. We know the criteria, but for you to have the freedom now, as a researcher, and you're focusing on your own educational growth, which is what Mary said is exciting, if you like, that's really vital. So, yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah. Could I just ask, Mary, that I think Cathy got those requirements basically for the MPhil. So if we share them, and we know that, in what we're doing as we're judging the quality, that we're wanting to make sure that this actually is seen to be fulfilling those requirements with the experience that we've got. So maybe next week we could just say, look, we've seen those requirements, we've shared them, so we know what, if you like, we're aiming for in terms of criteria that have to be met. Yeah. Seems reasonable. Yeah. Yeah, we can share ideas, because there are a range of examiners that I know not only would not be hostile to your intellectual position, but which it would be useful just to talk. Maybe in the new year we just have these conversations where we look at, maybe after we've had some of your writings, if that's all right with Mary, yeah. But, yeah. That's good. Yeah. But could you just check, Mary, in relation to a Viva? Would you mind just checking that with the either your registrar or in terms of the requirements? Is that okay? Okay. Yeah. Okay, that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Great. All right. No, no. How about you, Mary? That feels really good for me. That. Yeah. And, Mm. Oh yeah. Yes, yes, very much so. But if you just say, Cathy, for example, you know that I'm here every Monday. If you want me to have just half an hour, whatever, then you just let me know. It might be that we wait for some writings to come through, and then Mary might you say, well, look, I'll join you when you've got some writings we can respond to. But as I say, I'll be here at 7 o'clock or whenever you say. Um, yeah, Monday evenings. If you want to chat, we can have it. Yes, you can be. Yes, that's great. Okay. Oh no, not at all. As I say, it'd be great. Yeah, yeah. Okay. No, it's good to see you, Mary. Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye.